You know that moment when you walk through the front door and your dog is right there, tail going 100 miles an hour, whole body wiggling. You look at that and think one thing: happy dog. But here is something that might change the way you look at your dog forever. Researchers have discovered that the direction your dog wags its tail, whether it swings more to the right or to the left, carries a completely different emotional message. Other dogs can read it perfectly. We are the ones who have been missing it. And some of these signals could actually keep you, your kids, or your grandkids from getting bitten. Let us start with the biggest myth in the dog world. A wagging tail means a friendly dog. That single misunderstanding has sent more people to the emergency room than you would ever guess. A dog's tail wag is not always an invitation. It can mean fear, insecurity, or flat out tell you to back off, while a human walks right up and reaches out a hand. Think of it like a human smile. You smile when you are happy, sure, but you also smile when you are nervous, when you are uncomfortable, when you are trying to get out of an awkward conversation. A dog's tail works the same way. It signals engagement and arousal. But the type of arousal depends on a lot more than whether the tail is moving. So here is what to actually look for. The first thing is height. Where the tail sits tells you a lot about what is going on inside your dog's head. A tail held high and stiff generally means confidence, alertness, or dominance. That dog is feeling in control, and depending on the situation, that can tip into a warning. A tail at a relaxed, neutral height means your dog is calm and curious. Nothing to worry about. But when that tail drops low, your dog is telling you it feels unsure. It might be nervous, it might be stressed. And when the tail tucks all the way between the legs, that is real fear. That dog is asking the world to leave it alone, and you should respect that. Now here is where it gets more interesting. Speed matters just as much as height. A fast wag generally means intense emotion. But intense does not always mean good. A dog that is thrilled to see you will wag fast and loose, and you will probably see the whole back end swinging from side to side. That is the wag we all know and love. But a dog with a high, stiff tail making rapid, tight little movements, almost like the tail is vibrating, that is not excitement. That is a dog on the edge. That vibrating tail is one of the most misread signals in the entire dog world. People see movement and assume friendliness, but a stiff, fast, high wag can mean that dog is about to snap. On the other end, a slow wag usually means the dog is processing something. It is making up its mind. It is not sure yet whether this is a good situation or a bad one. If you see a slow wag, give the dog a moment. Let it figure out how it feels before you reach in. But the real discovery, the one that caught even the scientists off guard, is about direction, which side the tail favors when it swings. A neuroscientist named Giorgio Valortigara at the University of Trento in Italy led a study that tracked the tail movements of 30 pet dogs with precision cameras. What he found changed the way researchers think about canine communication. When a dog saw its owner walk into the room, the tail wagged vigorously with a clear bias to the right side of the dog's body. When an unfamiliar but non-threatening person appeared, the tail still wagged to the right, just a little less enthusiastically. Even when a cat showed up, the wag leaned right, though it was slower and more cautious. But when an unfamiliar, dominant-looking dog approached, everything flipped. The tail swung with a clear bias to the left. Right side means the dog is feeling good, comfortable, wanting to move closer. Left side means something is wrong. The dog feels anxious, uncertain, and it wants to back away. And this is not random. It comes down to how the brain is wired. The left hemisphere of a dog's brain controls the right side of the body and handles approach behaviors, the drive to move towards something good. The right hemisphere controls the left side and manages withdrawal, the instinct to pull away from something threatening. So, when your dog sees you and wags to the right, that is the left brain lighting up and saying, "This is someone I want to be near." When a strange dog triggers a left side wag, that is the right brain sounding the alarm. Now here is the part that really blew researchers away. Valor Tigara and his team wanted to know whether other dogs could actually detect the difference between a left wag and a right wag. So they recruited 43 dogs of various breeds and fitted each one with a special vest that monitored their heart rate. Then they showed these dogs videos. Some videos featured a dog wagging its tail to the right. Others showed a dog wagging to the left. The results were remarkable. Dogs watching right side tail wags stayed completely relaxed. Their heart rates held steady. Some even moved toward the screen as if they wanted to greet the dog in the video. Dogs watching left side wags reacted very differently. Their heart rates shot up. They showed visible signs of anxiety and stress. They wanted nothing to do with that dog on the screen. So, the direction of a tail wag is not just some internal brain quirk. It is a real signal that other dogs pick up on and respond to emotionally. Your dog has been reading these signals from every dog at the park, at the vet, on the sidewalk, its entire life. Meanwhile, most of us did not even know the conversation was happening. If you are finding this helpful, hit subscribe. We cover the kind of stuff about dogs that you will not hear anywhere else, and there is a lot more coming. Now, there is one special wag that stands apart from everything else. You might have seen it and not known it had a name. It is called the helicopter wag, sometimes the propeller wag or the circle wag. Instead of swinging side to side, the tail rotates in a full circle at the base. It looks like a propeller spinning, and it usually takes the dog's whole body along for the ride. Only about 10 to 20% of dogs actually do this. Researchers have concluded it is the one tail wag that reliably predicts genuine friendliness without any ambiguity or hidden meaning. If your dog does the helicopter wag when you walk through the door, you are looking at pure joy. You will see it a lot in those videos of military families reuniting with their dogs after a long deployment. That spinning tail, the full body wiggle, the dog that cannot contain what it feels, that is the helicopter wag in action. Here is another thing you probably never thought about. Dogs almost never wag their tails when they are completely alone. If your dog is lying on the couch by itself, with no one else in the room, its tail will be still. Just like a person does not talk to an empty room, a dog does not wag at nothing. Tail wagging is a social behavior. It exists entirely for communication. Your dog starts doing it as a puppy, around 3 to 4 weeks old, right when it begins interacting with its mother and littermates. Before that, the tail just sits there. The wagging switches on when the puppy's brain figures out it needs to start sending signals to the world around it. And there is one more layer to this that hardly anyone thinks about. Every time your dog wags its tail, the muscles around the base of the tail contract. That contraction presses on small glands near the tail that release scent, a chemical signature unique to your dog. Other dogs pick that up through a specialized organ in their nose. So your dog is not just waving a flag when it wags. It is also handing out a business card. all of which makes this last part especially important. About 1/3 of recognized dog breeds in the United States have their tails docked, meaning surgically shortened, usually within days of birth. Breeds like Boxers, Rottweilers, Dobermans, and Cocker Spaniels are commonly docked. For generations, this has been done mostly for appearance, but researchers at the University of Victoria in Canada wanted to know what docking actually does to a dog's ability to communicate. They built a life-sized robot dog that looked like a black Labrador and took it to off-leash parks. The robot could be fitted with either a long 12-inch tail or a short 3.5-inch docked tail, and the tail movements could be controlled remotely. With the long tail wagging, real dogs approached the robot in a friendly, playful way. They read the signal and responded. But with the short, docked tail, everything changed. Dogs approached with caution and confusion, regardless of whether the little stump was wagging or not. They could not read the signal. It was like trying to understand someone whose voice has been muffled. Separate observations at dog parks found that dogs with docked tails were involved in aggressive encounters at roughly twice the rate of dogs with full tails. Not because the docked dogs were more aggressive, but because other dogs could not understand what they were saying. The communication broke down and conflict filled the gap. One veterinary behaviorist put it perfectly. Docking a dog's tail is essentially the canine version of giving a dog permanent Botox. The expressions are frozen. The signals cannot get through. Tail docking is already banned in the United Kingdom, Australia, and much of Europe. In the United States, only Maryland and Pennsylvania have any restrictions at all. So the next time your dog comes running up to you, tail going wild, take a second look. Pay attention to how high that tail sits, how fast it moves, and if you can catch it, which side it favors. Your dog has been trying to tell you something its whole life. We simply were not paying close enough attention. If this changed how you think about your dog, check out the video on screen right now. You are going to want to see what else your dog has been trying to say.